for joining us on another episode of Adaptive Adjustments. I'm your host, Antonica, mental health professional, certified mediator, and founder of the youth empowerment organization Children's in Action. Parents, today is a very interesting episode. We're going to be focusing on gaming, excessive gaming, and the effects of gaming on your child and your household. So today, we have with us none other than Mr. Casey Paul, mental health professional. You know, he's also a father of 3, also a gamer as well. So guys, I want to introduce to you Mr. Casey Paul. Thank you for being on set with us today.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Nice.
It's good to be here. Well, and I'm a little bit about myself. I'm a mental health officer, and I work in the community, and as it relates to primary health care for mentally ill persons.
Right.
And I also have experience in school nursing,
Lovely.
certificate, did a certificate in social work. Also hold a master's in public health. A wealth of experience in working in St. Anne's Hospital and in the community as well. So,
Lovely.
good to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time to be on set with us. And you know, today we just want to talk a bit about gaming. I know you have experience working with the children out there. I know you would have been exposed to some of the complaints by parents as it pertains to the shift in the virtual learning platform and how the children are now adapting to being on screen and the amount of screen time that they are now exposed to. So, you know, we want to just focus a bit, as most children tend to be leaning to the gaming aspect. You know, they tend to be spending a lot of time playing game, and if they're not on the Zoom platform with learning, you know, any chance they get on the games. Parents have been complaining. Children are spending nights online. They are now interacting less with family members within the home. You know, and I just want you to share with the general public, how does gaming affect one's mind? You know, because I know you would have had experience as well in the gaming industry, you know, so I want you to share with us, you know, your personal experiences, what it's like to be a gamer, because a lot of parents may not understand as well, you know, because gaming does have some positive benefits to it. So I want you to share with us, what is it like to be a gamer? How has that been for you before we go into the whole nitty-gritty of actually the psychological effects on the mind?
Well, and interestingly enough, when I was growing up, we didn't know anything about gaming.
Right.
We did like sports, you know, like cricket, football, and then gaming came on the scene.
Right.
And that gaming was low pixelated, you know, it was like little block games and those little Nintendo. So the graphics wasn't too nice. So you know, it didn't interest you as much. But as the years progressed and technology came on better, you actually was able to create avatars, and you could have manipulated the character to be what you wanted. Right. So you actually felt like you were in the game.
Okay.
So that was a nice thing in a way. But then after you got so engrossed into the game itself, you sometimes lose touch with reality. So sometimes you notice that the graphics is so good that it actually entices you to continue playing.
Right.
And research has shown that there are hooks designed in these games.
Okay.
These games are designed in a certain way. It make you get little achievements. You get certain things, like it are championships, like in certain games, that you could win monetary prize. But how much people really win the prize? And they give like defeating a boss, defeating a stage, taking one level to the next level. So it always have you wanting to play the game. And it's such that your mind, and another study also, it was showing that the dopamine levels increased with gameplay.
Yes.
And dopamine is the feel-good effect. So that was a study was conducted by the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And they showed that dopamine levels actually doubled when they hear the person was playing a game.
Well, I remember when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
our neighbor had a Nintendo game, and you know, Super Mario Brothers was the game, Mortal Kombat, Need for Speed. These were the games that we would play, and it's really true what you say, because you used to feel that rush that when you come home from school, you need to get there. You know, our parents never invested in one because they didn't see it important at the time.
Exactly.
But you know, I understand what you say as it pertains to wanting to do it, wanting to feel good, that effect that it would have on you. You know, especially Need for Speed, that was a more virtual game. You would feel that you're more in it because of the fact that you're driving. You know, so that's something that I understand totally what you say, the wanting to be a part of that virtual experience. Yeah.
So I started off playing, what you would say, occasionally. But that what happened when I left from my family-oriented home, where I stayed with my three sisters and 2 brothers.
Okay.
And I went to live on my own with my wife. So I actually had time on my hands. Right. So what happened was that I had more time to actually play games. So I realized that I started wanting to play it more. And I actually got further into it. And I said to myself, I realized that something wrong. So I started put little parts into it, put 2 and 2 together, being a medical professional. I saw that I need to check myself. So I started to look at what it is going on here. So you look at the hooks and everything, and I decided, well, and you know, it have certain things that you could do otherwise. So I look at, set up my goals and everything, and what I wanted, and so I realized that I had to put it into a compartment. So I started to
spend
less time. I say, like, this is the time I devoting for this, if I have it. If not, I'll continue playing, doing other things instead of that.
Yeah, well, I do know that gaming has some positive effects in some clinical aspects. So like surgeons, they would use gaming to help them to understand the human body, which organs they need to attack, and surgeries, things like that. I know that it helps with your spatial reasoning. You know, it also helps some persons to the attention span, you know, to help them to focus. So they use that in like ADHD clients to help them to focus on objects, you know. But most research have shown that gaming has a negative effect on the person's mind. So I want to touch a bit on that. I want to touch on how does gaming negatively affect one's mind.
Well, there are several problems they could experience. One is that it has physical, the physiological, as well as the psychological. So what we see is similar to like you know, like cigarette smoking. You know, if you don't get the cigarette, you just feel some uneasiness. Okay. So it's similar in gaming. If you're
addictive.
if you don't really get the game to play, you will feel anxious.
Right.
You feel that you have to get the game, nothing working right. You could you could become aggressive and all. So we look at the physical effect also. We look at where the person, this withdrawal could lead to the person lashing out and other things. You know, a lot of items that different people react differently. So it has some people who would go into a little mode that they feel a little kind of, I wouldn't say depressed, but you know, like you're not playing the game, you feel a little down. Yeah. So and like I say, yeah.
I know in some cases they would say that gaming, it negatively affects your concentration as pertains to performance, otherwise the interaction with persons, because being there on the screen, you know, playing the game, you find that persons, they want to spend less time with actual reality. They lose that sense of communication skills as it pertains to interacting with others. You know, some persons, their verbal memory also, you know, you see a bit of decrease in that. So that, for instance, you just say something and you can't remember what you say after. You know, you're just losing focus with reality. You just seem to be focused on the game itself. A lot of persons, as you would say, there's a sense of aggression based on the anxiety wanting to play it. Yeah. You know, and it seems to me that gaming is quite addictive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you know, becoming more aggressive, because children that are more or less exposed to the violent games they tend to be a part of that. So like the Call of Duty and the Fortnite and these other games that promote that violence, they tend to believe that that is the way to solve their problems. What do you think about that?
Well, and remember when you go into the gaming world, I don't know if you ever saw the show Ready Player One.
I know.
It's an interesting show. It shows that where you could go into the area of the video game, and it actually changed how you view the world. So it was a whole set of people who were actually going into this gaming world. It wasn't reality, but they were actually feeling a sense of well-being, and as they chose whichever game they wanted to go into. So it was a really nice show to show that people lost perception of reality and with non-reality, and they preferred to stay in the non-reality world because they were getting all their relationships. They had their feelings being met how they wanted it felt, and they had a general well-being. So being in a game sometime, it makes the person who is playing feel like if everything is all right.
Euphoric.
Yeah, okay. So that's where the dopamine levels rise. So because the feel-good effect, you're feeling that good, you want to continue playing. So
I know one of the popular games that take a lot of person's time would be the FIFA. The FIFA, the whole concept of being on this football field and scoring goals, and then they have their friends and the parties and the different things that they would log on to. How does that affect one as it pertains to their communication with others?
But interestingly enough, you mentioned FIFA.
Yes.
It has a new platform now, which is the multiplayer online gaming. And that is, well, and I play it sometime, but I had to limit myself because usually these are live stream games. So this is interesting because a lot of children gravitate into this one.
Multiplayer?
So, online gaming.
Multiplayer online? Tell me.
Right?
Tell me, Spirit, multiplayer?
Yeah, so the multiplayer is where you're seeking like a team to go and play a game. So it's like, I am going on, and they are picking teams for you. So you're playing with anybody within your region, and they are making up the team. So it's people that you're playing with. So it come like sometime if after the game the person and you played a good game, they would ask it for friendship, like if you want to play with them again.
Right.
Right. But the problem with these multiplayer games is once you log on to the game live, you're locked in for an hour or two. So the game lasts for like an hour or two, sometimes half an hour according to how the game is run. Yeah.
So that would explain some of the children, because it is hear them. They have on the headset and they're talking to somebody and you don't know who they're talking to. Exactly. That would explain the shouts and the difference.
And then
multiplayer.
Multiplayer online games.
Multiplayer online games.
Yeah. So sometimes internet cut off.
Right.
You hear the saddest scream and want to mash up the remote.
Yes. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Or if the person who they're playing with, they do something bad, you hear they start to use expletives or they get aggressive. And
especially boys.
And the problem with that now is you're locked into the system. Meaning to say if you leave, you could incur penalties.
Right, because it affects the entire team.
Yeah, so usually when you hear a child logs on to this kind of game and the parent tell them to come off of it, it does be difficult sometimes because the child will start to protest why and this and that. Mommy, I cannot come out now because I will get banned and this and
they're being held hostage by a game.
By a game. But the problem with that game now is that it could run for hours.
Right.
So you had to be extremely careful when your child log on to these kind of games. Or you had to give them, if you hear you wanted to work, as I do with my daughter, she's a teenager now, so she likes those kind of games. I put a limit on the game.
Okay.
So I know that a game, so I play the game too. So I would see that it lasts for like about an hour or something, these kind of games.
Right.
According to which game. I will play it.
Okay.
To see how the game is, and I would see how it is on the internet, because like it have Roblox, it have chat rooms that you had to be very careful with, because you had to look at the cyber predators. Right. That's the guys on them who actually
important point, yes.
And they just filter in through to see if they could prey on somebody, some innocent person, or and we look at the cyber bullying also.
Right.
Because sometimes, you know, your child just playing just so, and you realize they stop playing. It could be that sometimes somebody tell them something on the chat, and it affecting them some way. So those are two points that you should always pay attention to. The child, however, you look at the game from all points, because you don't want it to affect them in a negative way. Right? Because some of the games, it have extreme violence in it also. So you wouldn't want your child to be exposed to some of those violence. And it have also real life mature scenes in some of the games. So you had to look at the games, and I can't remember which game that was, but I saw it, and it came across in the pop-ups. So it had pop-ups where you actually do a live, like you create an avatar, and it actually telling you like real life situation. Should I be with this one? I should have children for this one. Okay. So it actually trying to put the teenager in a situation where and you have to be careful with a teenager around this age, because within that age, remember, if we look at psychology, we have Eric Erikson, where he stated in his developmental stage, we in a period of role confusion,
identity.
Right,
yes.
Right. So we have to be careful, because now they are looking for identity.
Yes.
So you don't know what is running through their mind. They're confused. So I just say teenagers, being a teenager is an interesting time, but you just had to guide them carefully so that they wouldn't make the wrong choices.
So you're looking at so far, this virtual world is basically a world within a world.
Yeah.
Right, parents? So we're looking at gaming. It's not just gaming. It's not what it used to be with Super Mario Brothers and Street Fighter and these games. It's actually a world within a world. There are cyber predators. There are cyber bullying taking place. The children are now exposed to real life adult issues, right? It can also be associated with sleep deprivation because of the different types of games involved, being assigned to a team, the multiplayer online games. Multiplayer online games. So parents, what it is being said at this moment is that you all need to pay specific attention to the type of games that your children are being involved in. Take the time. If you want to play, get involved. Take some screen time as well with them. If it is you so desire to have your child become a gamer, or because I know that there are benefits to it as well. There are monetary prizes and things like that. Right? So parents, you really need to take the time to supervise your child. Limit the screen time.
But and you also look at the minimizing of the screens. Yes. Because sometimes you notice you pass across by a child, and you'll see immediately the minimize the screen. So that will show that something is not right. So
supervise them.
Yeah, supervise and become computer literate. Computer literate, so that you could understand what it is going on. Sometimes I just when there's minimize, I go and I check the history. So I would see exactly what's going on. And then after, they're smart now. So you have to know, as soon as it minimize, you check the history immediately. Because what has happened, they could clear out the history too.
Yes.
So they're that technologically advanced.
Right? Parents, check the history. Check the history. And I just want to say to the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service, get that computer literacy program on board for parents and children, so that the parents can supervise their children accordingly. I know you guys are working on one at the moment, so get it cracking, guys, because the parents need to be computer literate in order to supervise their children to ensure that they are in a safe environment. Yeah, so I know you were speaking about there's an option where the parents can now monitor the child's gaming activities from their cell phone. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, and it's an app, but if you ask these tech guys, they would show you how to operate it. It's where actually, when the child goes onto the computer, you would be able to have access to see what's going on from a next device. So it's a lot of different apps, but it's always good to check a tech guy because he will actually be able to run through and take these steps to show you how to properly use it. And it will be good because you will actually see what's going on.
Right? A tech guy. Yeah. So, all right, these tech guys, they're able to help you to go through the process, help you to understand how to maneuver the supervision, right? I just want to go back a bit. The addiction tendencies as it pertains to the game, sleep deprivation on the child. Yeah. How does that affect the child in their schooling?
Well, remember, sleep important for anything. You need your full amount of time so that you'll be able to perform.
Right.
Right. So if you go to school feeling tired, most likely you'll see the child sleeping during class time. Yes. They'll be unable to focus, and other things. You have a lot of things you could be involved in. How you put it? You'll find other things to do beside actually studying. So you'll be causing problems in the class because of the eye problems, because you focus so much on the blue light. Right. And that you could see that you see dry eyes. So you notice that it is a good practice to actually get and they had a big promotion I see the other day in I think in one of the optical places where they were giving the blue light lenses for the children.
Yes, I
saw
that.
And that was a good initiative because the amount of screen time now that the child is having, considering the COVID and loss of physical class time, there's more computers. And we would look at the hygiene because the child, because sometimes the time so used up, they wouldn't have time to even go and take a bath sometime. Yeah. So you as a parent had to look at them, keep a look at them.
Parents are complaining. They are.
So you had to look at the hygiene, brushing teeth. Next thing you see, you had to go and see about rotten tooth because
because they're just eating and playing game.
Yes, but they like to say that they always, as with sometimes my daughter will say, Daddy, well, and I have homework because I limit the time, screen time. So there's sometimes you'll say you have homework. I say let me come and help you. So you actually try. You be with your children.
You stuck with them.
You be with your children because as they always say, my daughter, because I accustomed. Well, I'm in psychiatry, so you'll notice that they always try tricks. They say, "But Daddy, I can't fool you with nothing." Yeah. So I say, well, and it's obvious. So now you are trying not to fool me because I wouldn't trust you. So,
exactly, I understand. I understand. We touched on a bit about on the eyes, and that is a problem that a lot of parents complain. The children are now requiring glasses as a result of the increased screen time and gaming as well. And what is happening is that as soon as they come off of the virtual platform for learning, when it's time to take a break, they just go right onto the games. So that is affecting their vision, and that could also lead to headaches, seizures, worst case scenario. Another physical ailment that is being highlighted is as I said, the carpal
tunnel syndrome. Yeah. And that is where the veins are actually, because of the clicking on the mouse a lot.
Right, and the actual, the thumb and the arms, muscles, muscle tension and so on. A lot of children are now being affected by that. Yeah. How can parents prevent this from happening, basically?
Well, then, the best thing is to limit the amount of time they go on there. Right, and what I do is sometimes, as I do with my children, is when we give a day for no computers, and certain specific times throughout the day, no computers or no screens. So like we fit like an hour or two in between, and we make sure that they uphold it because they have a problem given that 2 hours, and we try as much to make sure that they give it so that they can rest the hand.
Right. Yeah. I want to touch on something else. One other thing, internet gaming disorder. There seems to be an official disorder associated with gaming. Yeah. Talk to me about it.
Well, in 2013, I think it was added to the list of disorders in the DSM-4, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders. Yeah. And it was put there maybe because they saw that it was a addiction, it was related to addiction, that was, well, the excessive use, and the person couldn't control yourself. So that, it had several factors, which was the preoccupation of the game. It had a few, I think it was 5
other. Any 5 over a 12-month period will be classified as internet gaming disorder, right? So they have it as a mental disorder, and they're saying that preoccupation with the game, withdrawal, tolerance to the game, loss of interest in other activities, downloading usage, the loss of relationship within the home, the loss of educational capabilities, career opportunities, all of that would have been associated, or also failure to control themselves as it pertains to, as you said, becoming one with the game. That was all classified as, once you're experiencing 5 symptoms over a 12-month period consistently, you can be classified as having internet gaming disorder. So parents, it is real. There is a disorder associated with it, right? It's a mental disorder. So you need to take stock of that. We're looking at the child being unable to withdraw from the game, the child being unable to interact with others, they being unable to seek their educational priorities, also failure to control themselves as it pertains to the game. So the loud outbursts and the profanities and so on, that behavior change that the child will experience as a result of the game, all of that consistent over a 12-month period can be associated with internet gaming disorder.
So we're looking at, well, in the aspect of tolerance, it was one of the things that you'll notice, that a child, no matter how much game time they get, they will always want more. Right. So that could be one of the factors you'll notice a lot in gaming. The more game you play, is the more that you want to play again. So it that addictive.
It's that addictive. Okay, so let's look at some solutions. I know you said minimize the screen time. Parents may not be always able to supervise their child, right? They may not be at home, they may be at work, they may be tired, things like that. The child would use any opportunity that they get to indulge in this gaming activity. So, pursuing a hobby, things like that. What are some of the tips that you would give to parents?
Well, then you look for other avenues that the person could, like find the time to do. Like say, what I do sometimes, I am interested in farming and I do other things that would keep me preoccupied, instead of having that time there.
Free time.
Free time, so that you would always gravitate towards going to the game.
Right.
So once you have free time, it's better you find something to do with the time that you have. So you look for some hobby that the child likes, because you won't want them to do something that they don't like, and that is where the problem will start. They will always be preoccupied with thinking about the game and how nice it would be playing the game. So you get them, like, you know your child. Most parents know their children and what they like. So it must have something that they like. The other thing is that get them to look inside themselves and see what it is going on here, what I want to be when I grow up. Yes, what I want to be when I grow up, or what I could do to make the change from now to then. Because sometimes they just see in now, and they don't think about then. So it's always good to show them options. A timetable is also a good option. You create a timetable so that they could actually specify how they plan to spend their day. It was something we did when we was growing up, and I'm not seeing it anymore in these days, where you actually set out how you're planning to spend your day, so that you won't stray from where you are into that area now. And video game is such that sometimes it does always make you feel like it is the best thing in the world. And my daughter I always related to her, because right now we're dealing with her liking it so much. We just actually tell her that, because I saw her playing a game, and it was recently. I saw her playing a game, and it was the day before exam. So I asked her, what's going on. And next thing, she telling me that she was just talking with her friend. So once they have the free time, they would find themselves in trouble.
So what about no screen time? I know.
Yeah, that's a very good option. Well, and the best thing is, they say sometimes it's better you abstain.
Right.
Right? You get the child to actually stay away from the computer. Stay away from the computer, stay away from the phone, and they should be all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know in some cases they may speak about not allowing the child to go to their bedrooms with the phone or with the computers, and that would limit the occurrence of them having to use the game unsupervised.
Well, as you mentioned that one, it's a very interesting thing. Sometimes the internet just cut off.
Oh, you could take off the internet.
Right, so.
Some good shots here.
Right. Yeah.
Wi-Fi down. No game. No game.
So see, sometimes when you had Wi-Fi down, the fish out of water.
Right.
They don't know what to do. So it is they are good way of restricting them also.
Oh, I love that one. That one is foolproof.
Yeah,
it's foolproof. Unless they have the neighbor Wi-Fi code.
Well, and that's the thing.
But it's going to be a collaborative effort in the community.
Exactly.
Yes. So parents, we just got some really strong solutions. Invest in a hobby, spend some family time, do something, encourage your child to do something that they like. Not something that they would get tired of, right? Also, you want to monitor the screen time with them. You want to implement avenues such as no screen time, right? Limit them. Take away their cell phones, their computers when they go to bed at night to ensure that they get a night's rest. Also, the classic, cut off the Wi-Fi, right, parents? So there you have it. I mean, anything else I want to tell the parents as it pertains to this issue?
Well, and the supervision is important. I must say, even though you're not, well, and the roles of the family has changed. Because remember, we changed from the extended family to now we have the ladies working now. So back in the days, the lady was the homemaker. Right. So now that the supervision level kind of dropped. So we had to find some way to monitor these children so that we could actually keep them from developing this gaming addiction.
And one of the key ways of supervising them is becoming computer literate, right? Parents invest in a computer literacy course. There may be one or two coming to you for free, courtesy Children's in Action, right? However, invest in becoming computer literate. So guys, I just want to do a quick recap, right? Gaming can be positive or negative, surgeons use it to practice as it pertains to their surgery. They use it for ADHD to enhance person's attention spans, but more so, it has a negative effect on the mind, right? There is a disorder associated with gaming called the what do you call it? The internet gaming disorder. Internet gaming disorder, guys, right? 5 or more of the following symptoms, such as loss in interest in communication, loss in interest in schoolwork, tolerance level to the game, gaming preoccupation, also downloading usage, and using gaming as a relaxation technique constantly can contribute towards that diagnosis, right? But of course, you need to seek that out with a mental health professional first. Don't just run around telling your children that you have internet gaming disorder, right, guys?
Because there is a next disorder also, internet overload disorder.
Internet, oh my
No, that is why actually you self-diagnose and you go on the internet and you pull so much information. That was in the same internet disorder, where they show that people go and they keep downloading different and trying to self-diagnose.
Yes, that's something that we have in a problem with in mental health as well. So
it's good always, as you said, to go and seek a professional. So we always recommend that also. A professional important.
Yeah, so there are also gaming injuries, the pain to the risk areas, the wrist, the pains in the arms, the radiating pains in the arms, eye problems, headaches, seizures. All of these are associated with gaming, parents, right? So there are a lot of different issues. It's very addictive, and you want to nip it in the bud before it becomes a problem with them interacting with society. So guys, I want to thank you for listening today. I want to thank my guests for being here. You know, Mr. Casey Paul, thank you for your contributions. Thank you for being that person that, you know, you're able to balance the two.
Yeah. But before we leave, one thing I have to tell you.
Sure.
That the interesting thing is that this is good for parents here. In a study, they showed the gaming industry made $10.3 billion in their gaming, in actually how as much more than the movie industry, right? So the gaming industry has made such money.
Selling games?
No, remember they have online time, like the time you spend on a computer.
Right.
They get some rebate, and plus also they sell different clothes and products and all these things. It showed that they made that amount, 10 point something billion, as it compared to the movie industry. So the games actually benefiting financially.
It's a business, not for the player.
Not for the player at all.
But for the producer.
Yeah.
Gaming is a business, parents.
Yeah.
Don't be caught victim, right? So parents, there you have it. Solutions to deal with the gaming issue. Create a hobby for the child. Encourage the child to do something positive. Supervise them. Minimize the screen time. Minimize the screen time.
Yeah.
Cut out make it a day, no screens, no computers, no nothing, just family time. Right? And also if you want to involve them in the gaming system, get involved as well, so that you can supervise the type of games, right? There are cyber predators, cyberbullying taking place, and it can affect your child's self-esteem. So, Mr. Casey, thank you again for being on set with us at Adaptive Adjustments.
Thanks for having me.
Right? Parents, thank you for contributing this topic for us to touch on. You know, I want to invite you guys to tune into our YouTube channel, right, at Adaptive Adjustments with Auntie Nika. Also, you can feel free to email me your ideas or suggestions at adaptiveadjustments@outlook.com. You know, guys, we are also on Facebook. We are now working on our Instagram account, so you can find us on Instagram pretty soon. I also want to tell you, parents, if you guys want to look nice for Christmas, be sure to check out Bling Long Apparel for all your Christmas dresses and accessories. They also have a Black Friday sale taking place right now, where you can get 2-for-1 specials, 3-for-1 specials. They have a lot of positive things happening, a lot of nice clothing, moderate clothing for you guys, plus size as well. They cater for plus size parents, so guys, check them out. Right? So that's it for today's episode. We touched on gaming, the psychological effects of gaming. I'm your host, Auntie Nika. See you on our next episode.